there's a lot of
Mhm.
opportunity. And for you, there's a lot of opportunity in terms of like maybe the tweaking the messaging and like getting that dialed in. But let me ask you both this. This is a very important question.
Mhm.
And just to set some context, like when you think about the last time you booked on someone else's calendar, right? Lucy or Kai, like when you were exploring somebody else's offer because maybe you wanted support or maybe you wanted, to explore their coaching program for one reason or another. Um, when you've done that in the past, like if them or somebody on their team were to call you to like confirm the appointment and stuff like that, how did that feel? Was it appreciated or was it more like, man, these guys are spamming me to make sure I get on the call? Like what's going
I
on?
know.
How did you feel about that?
It doesn't come across as spammy. I mean, it feels like, confirming and
Okay.
more supportive. And I don't know why then I flip it around when it comes to me.
That's
Because,
why I asked that, right?
yep,
Yes.
because
But
I've
hold on.
had, okay,
So let's stick with that thought because that's really important, right? From your perspective, Lucy, they were being what? Let's just build on that and then we'll get to Kaibo and I'll share
yeah,
my
it
perspective. Like,
feels supportive. I feel like, oh, they remembered me. I'm in the right place. Um,
hmm.
and I'm important. They reached out. Yeah, those things come to
The
mind.
little things, right? And then what about you, Kai, in the past? Have you ever like gotten on somebody's
Yeah,
sales
well, yeah,
call?
so I've been doing some spy work. I signed up to like a bunch of language learning formulas. I'm like, hey, I really want to learn Japanese. So I went to like a massive sales funnel. Like I answered like
I love that, by
50
the way.
questions on like my language learning, or not 50, like maybe 10 questions. I'm exaggerating, but I did. And then after that, they're like, the CEO reached out himself, like, hey man, I saw you have a call booked. Oh wow, that's so nice. But then I rebooked that and I realized it's just a automated message that he's sending
Oh,
me.
no way.
But like the first time I was like, oh nice, wow, he's reaching out to me. He's still telling me that my call is in half an hour. I like this. I like where we're going. He sent me some video. I'm like, oh cool, nice. It was all very authentic, like as if he was writing it. And then I didn't
Mm,
come to that call, and then I booked it again, and then the same exact thing happened. So like, okay, he just copy and pasted. They have like an automation formula
like
to
a
warm up
sequence.
to warm up people. And I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, this guy's. I mean, I mean, I went in like as a spy. I went in not with like intentions of
Yeah.
I really want to buy something. Like I've never really bought anything at all
Okay.
ever on school. Like the only thing that I bought in the last couple of days was cabbage and cucumbers.
I got you, man. I got you.
Like
Okay, the cool
yeah,
thing though, from what you mentioned is like, and even from Lucy, right? And what I'll add to the conversation is, an example is I was looking into this like brotherhood or
yeah.
whatever,
Guys, I
and
have to run now.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah. It's
I got you.
super late here, and I have to run now.
Yeah,
But
no worries. We'll see you
yeah,
soon. All right, my man. We'll see you.
bye,
Take care.
Kai.
Uh,
bye. See ya.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll send over the recording. But yeah, so from my perspective, I was looking at this mastermind, this brotherhood, and the guy was texting me videos of himself, like Luis, what's up, man? Like super warm, super friendly. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but then he did it like two more times, and you can tell, to your point, Lucy, it's like, wait, these guys actually really care about who I am, and they've read through my application. And like, he's like, yo, what's up, man? I see you have a 6-year-old, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, okay, this is like, personalized. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that, right? But from our perspective, even me, like I'll have somebody on my calendar and I see they've accepted it. And then I'm kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to bug them, right? Or I don't want to spam them. But obviously, we've had experiences. I'm sure everybody else on the recording has had experiences where it's like, okay, wow, yeah, this feels supportive and helpful, and they're aware, or present, whatever the word is. But let's start with you, Lucy. Like, what keeps you from implementing some of the things like the no show or like preventing no shows, increasing show rates, and some of those? Just on that topic.
Well, we had talked last time about there was a sales call that I had coming up, and
Mm.
you had suggested calling them, and that felt really good. I mean, because
Oh
we talked
yes,
about all this, and I was like, all
yes.
right, yes, this makes sense. I should call them. She actually ended up reaching out to me first, so I didn't end up calling her.
and she was reaching out to make sure she knew, to make sure I
Oh
knew
wow.
that this was our second sales call together. Well, the first one was like a year ago. So this was our second free call together. And she was just making sure that I knew that she wasn't in any different financial situation. So
Oh,
it
it's
ended up not like being
panning
a
out.
great lead. So
Yeah, I
she's a
got
nice
you.
person. And who knows, maybe she'll refer somebody to me. So I always
Yeah.
fulfill, I still got on the call with her and went through the whole thing with her and stuff. But
Yes.
um, so so what else do I do that I think I send out an email sequence when they book a strategy call and but I don't personally call them. I think a big thing is time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's more time. Like how do I fit that? I can't even
Yes.
fit in the things I need to fit in during the day.
Yes, yes, yes. That's literally a conversation I was having with the team I'm consulting on. Um Now, granted, so the guy I was talking to, he's like, whatever, the marketing director, and he was like, yeah, man, leads are coming in. Like, we need to get on them as soon as they book. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have all these calls. Like, at what point do I,
Right,
like get to them? What he
right.
suggested, which it makes sense, it's we need to. There's two things, right? And actually it really shifted my perspective because he goes, the way we want to look at it is in that sense, when there are leads coming in, we need to look at them as like, how do I get this guy off my calendar? How do I almost like disqualify them to make space
Mm,
for someone who is qualified?
mm,
So then from that perspective, what does that do? It raises our level of I don't know, worth, or like my time is worth even more because I'm on this mindset of like, hey, are you confirmed? Are you in? Like, what else do you need? And if they're not, being okay with, hey, let's get them off the calendar, and if they're really interested, they're gonna rebook anyways. So
mm,
when he shifted that for me, it was like, okay, cool. That makes sense, right? Like, number one, we're really valuing our time and the space on our calendar because we are booked up, number one. And then number two, he goes, lean on, in my case, the team, right? So naturally, me, I mean, as a sales leader, I want to be the one like calling them. I want to be the one texting them. But he goes, you have setter, like let's lean on the setter, but the setter needs a lot of direction. He needs to know here's what to say and here's how to say
yes.
it, and like all the little nitty-gritty details. And that was another thing that I thought I had a handle on, but when I looked at the SOPs to make sure that there was clarity, I realized, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's not really clear at all. So that's one thing I would recommend for you. It's like I'm applying this stuff live on the field currently, and I'm seeing a really, really great ROI in that sense because yeah, when I look at somebody on my calendar, not that I'm judging them or like trying to disqualify them, but I'm more like, hey, are you actually like clear about what's going on? Do you have it on your calendar? Are you ready for the
Mm,
call? Did you go through some of the assets we've sent over? And for example, I talked to this lady today and I was very leaned out. It's called leaned out,
yeah.
versus leaning in versus wanting to really be on the call. So I was leaned out like, yeah, Jan, listen, she was asking a few questions and I go, yeah, listen, like we're in no rush. Like you don't have to do it today if you can't connect today. Because at the end of the day, what we do is this, right? And she goes, oh wow, actually that's refreshing because I've gone on a lot of calls where they're so like hungry for me to get on the call now. And it just feels like they're trying to sell me into some like program that they don't even really care about me. And I was like, oh, so
Got
it
it.
not only helps us to value our time and really confirm, but also from their perspective, they feel like, okay, yeah, like if there's no rush to have it today, it's like it actually feels better because it's more like, yeah, let's figure it out together.
Yeah. Or they start thinking like, well, wait a minute, aren't I a good
Or on the flip side, yeah.
quality lead? Shouldn't don't you want me in the program? And then they
Yeah.
want it more.
Yes, right. So it's always like in this when you lean out or even stay neutral, slightly neutral and slightly leaned out versus like really wanting them, really needing them to be on the call. Um, to your point, it creates this sense of like, well, like actually I will make time or let me move things around and I will be on the call. or I will go through the thing you sent over.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. Okay. So in the past, I've been told by like some past coaches, like things that I should be doing is when people sign up for the challenge or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or the workshop, I could call them.
Mm-hmm.
Or when they join my community, so I asked for their phone number to join my community. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody puts it in, but there, a lot of them, most of them do actually.
Mm-hmm.
I did that like twice.
Yes,
And then it was like just it was a time thing. But
I hear you.
so I
Yeah.
could be calling the people that are interested in or that sign up for the challenge. I could be calling people that are entering my community. I could be calling people that came to the workshops or the master classes. There's so much opportunity for follow-up. But number one, yeah, I had to get over the mindset, and it's probably still there of like fear of calling the number of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but then I'm going to be bothering them. But then the other thing is time. I mean, that is real.
Mm-hmm.
This is a
Yes.
combination.
Yes, yes. And also it's interesting because if the mindset is good or like if we're you know, unblocked, whatever the word is there, it actually allows us to make the time.
Right. Because, right, when you think about it, if that's the source of my income, then shouldn't that be a priority?
Yeah, right. And also it's like, hey, wait, didn't I say my big why is like changing lives and making an impact?
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, if I get them on the call through follow-up, wouldn't that increase my probabilities of helping them?
Right.
So
Yes.
that's why these type of sessions I always value them because I always get coached in coaching as well almost on a weekly basis. I'm a part of other groups where I've invested in myself, whether it's brotherhood or sales and tactical businessy stuff. It's always like, oh yeah, that's a great reminder,
Hmm.
because we all sometimes have these. Have you ever heard of the term leashes? I think I might have talked about this idea of a leash.
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it's a really interesting concept because obviously there's these ideas like limiting beliefs and blockages, which is like, okay, I get that. But then when one of my mentors talked about this idea of leashes, he goes, yeah, man, think about it like this, right? Metaphorically, you're an animal, let's say a dog or something, right? And you're like looking out in the horizon and like, wow, that park over there looks amazing. I'd love to play over there. And then you move towards it, but then something's like holding you back, and you're like, well, I don't, there's nothing here. Like, I don't know why I just can't get to that park. And then you kind of forget about it. You play with your toys or whatever. And then next, like your buddy comes over, and then another dog comes over and then he's unleashed and he's like, hey man, like what's going on? I see you're kind of stuck here. Like, I'm not stuck. It's like, well, you do realize you're like, you're tethered to this thing, right? You have like a leash coming out of your neck or whatever. And he goes, no, I don't. And then he like pulls him over. It's like, it's right here. And then he's like, holy crap. Wow. Okay. No wonder I'm not able to move forward. So the value in that is number one, like guidance, coaching, feedback, because then somebody can point it out. Right. And then the second thing also,
Mm.
it's like, okay, cool. Once you realize that the leash is there, you have one or two decisions to make. Do I want to get to the park or to the destination? Or am I willing to settle for just being tethered to this little space?
Right.
You see? And so that's the difficult part. It's just making a decision and saying, you know what? Yeah, actually, hey, can you help me like untether it or like whatever? And then you are unleashed. You are unleashed at that point. You don't have a leash. You're not tethered. You're not stuck.
Yeah.
So what's your takeaway from something like that?
I think that probably there is a leash happening so that it does probably make it so that I don't find the time to
Yeah.
to do the follow-up that needs to be done because of some worry that I'm bothering them, which
Yes.
is silly. And I try to remind myself of all the times that people
It's
have
never
reached
logical,
out.
by the way, right? Like
No,
when you
no.
really sit down, you're like, this doesn't make any sense, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah. I got you.
Yep. I've been contacted by people in the past, and yeah, I remember somebody from Alex Hormozzi's team reached out. that was like the coolest thing. He was just trying to get me to book to go to the Vegas
Oh
meetings.
yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, somebody from Alex
Mm.
Hormozzi's team. Obviously I don't have that kind of status, but
Yeah.
still people are following, they listen, they like my stuff,
Yes.
so yeah.
Yes. And so then, back to that notion of this leash, because there's this other concept, I can't remember her name, but it's called the work. And so in when you're doing that concept of the work, there's like, a few questions that this lady asks. But one of the like more important questions, she goes, okay, in this case for you, Lucy, like if that leash wasn't there, what would you most likely, most probably do?
It's a good question. I like that. I mean, I would reach out to every single person that comes into my world that shows interest, that is the warm leads. I would probably reach out.
Yeah, you would probably reach out, right? So then in that what's the word I'm looking for? Universe or whatever of like where you are actually reaching out to people, what is supporting that? Is it a skill set? Is it a mindset? Or maybe a mixture? Like what would support that Lucy that is actually like reaching out to people?
I think it would be systems.
Yeah.
So having it be a part of the day or the calendar or something. And
Mm,
maybe like a little bit of a, not a script, but like knowing what the heck to say and
a
ask.
process.
Process, an
Yes.
SOP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
An SOP, a process. Because what would that do for you?
it would make it easy.
Yeah, and also it sounds like it would make you feel more confident about doing it.
Yes.
So sometimes it's about this feeling of like, um, do I know what to do? Yes. Do I feel confident about doing that thing? Yes. And then lastly, can I make time to do this thing that I actually do feel confident about?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, because there's like the time thing. Yeah, I'm pretty out straight. Like it's insane. But you know, still you can
Hmm.
argue if I was able to get more clients and make more money, help more people,
Yes.
then maybe I could outsource more of the things that I'm doing right now. So the
Yes.
time it would all balance out.
Yes, yes. And so this lady name, I just had to look it up, but her name is Byron Katie. Byron Katie. And so she has four questions. It's called the work. And this is more in like mindset training and just like really getting clear of we would call them the limiting beliefs and all that stuff. But yeah, so let me look at this just to make sure because there is this part here. Yep, there we go. So it's yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty much just getting clarity. Like, hey, fourth question is which is the one I asked, which is the last and final question is like like what would you do or if you didn't have that thought, like what would happen? Who would you be? You know? And then it's just expansive. And you could apply that in your sales conversations.
Yeah.
When someone tells you, "Hey, I don't have the time," you say, "Yeah, no, I totally get you. I was actually talking about this with one of my sales coaches, and then we came up with this idea of like, hey, who would I be if I didn't have that thought?" And then you can like tell a story about it. And so when you tell a story about it, they'll be able to like digest it and apply it into their own life because then they'll be able to say, well, yeah, that's true. If I didn't have that thought of I don't have time, then I would be able to all these other things that I'm sure they really actually do want to do. They do want to be healthy. They do want to like live longer,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that's one thing I struggle with. And I've never heard anybody mention it before until just now, is I have my script, I have questions, all that stuff, but sometimes I feel like when I ask the question, they don't understand it quite right. I didn't
Hmm.
really say it quite right. And
Hmm.
you mentioned telling a story to help
Hmm.
I feel like the story would help lead them in the right direction of where I'm trying to go with this
Yes,
and help
that's
them
right.
to understand it better. So
Yes.
I've never done that.
Yeah, and that's why nursery rhymes and some of those things exist because children, they're not cognitively developed quite yet. So they need something simple to chew on and get. So then there's these stories, and these stories will produce these parables or metaphors, and then they'll be able to say, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Mhm.
So the easiest way is usually through a third party perspective as well, is even saying, um, yeah, Jenny, so let me tell you what I told my other client. So then you're telling your story of a client that you worked with that successfully overcame something they're dealing with. So that's a third party perspective of like, yeah, so I was working with Nick, and so he was in this similar situation where he kept telling me like he wants to make the time, but he's not able to make the time. And so what really shifted for Nick was just realizing, wait, um, if I'm able to like unleash and get out of my own way, then I'm ultimately able to reach my goals and like feel fulfilled. And it sounds almost silly when we think about it, but um at the end of the day, it's just really being clear about what you want. So for you, Lucy, like, do you actually want to close more clients? Yes or no? And then you could end it with a
Yes.
binary question where it's just very, very easy of like, okay, okay, Jenny, so the question becomes for you, do you want to really feel more alive in 2026, or do you really want to feel more energetic in 2026? Yes or no? They're going to naturally say yes. You see, so just to recap, that's a third party perspective. You're telling the story of, hey, I helped this person. They were dealing with this. They realized this other thing. So for your situation, Mr. Whoever, Mrs. Whoever, do you actually want the thing? Yes or no? That usually
Mm,
cuts through all of the mindset or the fears and the concerns, because it's very much like yes or no. Now, I've had it where I've had it where people just don't answer the question. They'll go into a story.
yeah.
Like, well, that's a good point, but also was Nick a dad of five and like all this stuff. And that's where you as a leader, you have to say, no, no, for sure. No, I hear you. Now let's just take a step back and keep it simple. At the end of the day, let's say whoever, John, at the end of the day, John, like, do you actually want to like enroll more clients? Like, yes or no, just to establish like a baseline. Well, of course, Luis. Okay, well, let's start there. So
Mhm.
even if they tell you a story of like, you say, "Hey, Jenny, so do you actually want to feel more energized in 2026?" Yeah, I do, but Lucy, like I have all this stuff I have to take care of. No, I hear you, but let me ask you this, like, do you just for a baseline, just so that we're on the same page and you maybe create a little bit of humor, do you actually like want to feel more energized and like alive this year? Like, yes or no? Yes. That's where we're holding their feet to the fire. And that's where, in my methodology here, it does require a certain level of leadership to like interrupt them a little bit to get them to their truth.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's
So,
going to be really helpful.
yeah. So, what are you gathering from that? Like, whether it's the third party perspective, the binary yes or no.
I love this idea of kind of leading them to that binary yes or no. Because I've definitely been in situations where I'm thinking that's going through my head, like, do you want this or not? Like, you're
Yes.
coming up with so many excuses. Do you do you want to get off these medications? Do you want to avoid
Yeah. Okay. There
surgery?
we go.
Like,
Yeah.
yes or no.
Yeah.
So now I see how I can use that in the conversation.
Here's how I'll help you take it one level deeper. Okay. Usually, what happens is it's just fear.
Hmm.
Fear that in your case, right? It's fear that I'm going to be someone who's bothersome or I'm interrupting or whatever. From their perspective, it's a fear of what? I'm
Gonna
afraid, I don't
fail
know,
again.
fail, like
They've,
you know this, right?
yeah.
So with that level of understanding and awareness, here's how you follow up the binary question. So you say, third party story, they dealt with this, they realized this. So for you, Jenny, like, do you want to get off your medications and like feel more alive this year? I guess or no. They're gonna say, of course, but this story, you interrupt them. No, no, I get that, but like let me just like establish a baseline. Do you actually like want that? Like, yes or no? Well, of course, yes. Okay. The follow-up to that is, so at this point, if you want to write it down, it goes, so at this point, would you say it's just a little bit of nerves? So at this point, would you say it's just a little bit of nerves that's keeping you from moving forward? That's keeping you from XYZ, that's keeping you from getting started, that's keeping you from really wanting to do this. So at this point, is it just a little bit of nerves that's keeping you from like wanting to do this? What happens when you say that? They feel seen
Mm.
and heard. They're gonna be like, oh wow, she gets me. Like, yes, of course it is a little bit of nerves. As a leader, then you support them. You support them in what way? You say, I know, because by the way, that's a good thing because it means that this is meaningful for you and it's a little bit scary. Like getting married or having children or starting a new career. It's something that is out of your comfort zone. But that's why I'm here to help you through the process. And then that's when you can ask one of those closing questions like, so with that said, are you ready to get to work? Like, let's do this.
Mhm.
In that moment of clarity and openness, sometimes they'll just say, you know what? Yes. Or you know what? Yes, but it's the finances, or yes, but it's this other thing. Okay, cool. At the very least, we removed fear, and now it's just logistical of like what's really going on beyond like fear and doubt and all that other stuff. Okay, so let's take it from the top. You do the binary, they say yes or no, then you hit them with, okay, so at this point, do you feel like it's just a little bit of nerves?
Mhm. Yes. Okay,
And
yeah.
when they say yes, then you support them through the door. You walk them through. That's like, yeah, no, I get that. It's part of the process. It just means so you're reframing them. I don't want to get too technical, but you're essentially redefining what it means to be nervous. Nervous is good because it means that this is important for you. Because I know this is important for you and because I've been there and done that, I can help you through this. That's literally why you should do this. You don't say that, but that's what's going on in their mind.
Mhm. There's a lot to this, huh?
There's a lot to this. I mean, that's why, that's why, there's coaching and guidance and like sales calls, reviews and all that, because that's really where the meat of it is where we can really dive in deep. So what are you
Great.
gathering from that? Like, what did you get from that?
Um, I mean, I think that this is a great way to kind of lead them to understanding what it is that they really want, but in a really supportive way.
Yes.
It's not pushy. It's just what it is, and um acknowledging, or what's the word? That's not acknowledging, but just recognizing, helping them to know
Mm-hmm.
that they've been seen, that what the fear is
Yeah.
for them.
Yes.
um,
Yes.
Let them know that that's normal, it's part of the process, and let them get the clarity that they need, of like, okay, now they can, even if they just walk away from that conversation without buying anything, whatever, they walk away clearly knowing that it is, that regaining their energy in 2026 is very important to them, or whatever.
Yes.
Getting off the
Yes.
medication is very important to them. And then they can at least leave that conversation knowing kind of what they like, their choices,
Yes.
what they need to do.
And that's where you can really have fun with it in the sense where now you can start to stack on metaphors or additional stories or more reframing in what sense. Because when they say, no, yeah, honestly, yeah, it is, it does feel like a big decision, or yeah, there's a little bit of nerves coming up. When they say that, then you could inject the metaphor like, yeah, no, for sure, Lucy, because I mean, it's kind of like this, right? You've been spinning your wheels, and so there's a lot of like fog around you, and all you want to do is like get off the meds, feel better, feel stronger, and just let's be honest, look sexy and all this. Okay, cool. So here's what I recommend. Like, let's get you on a track because when you're on this track, guess what you can do, Jenny? You can chug along at a pace where you're moving forward at a pace that moves well for you. And what does that mean? That even though things are a little bit unclear and there's a lot of fog around you, you're still moving forward in the direction of your goal. And then once the coast is clear and it's not foggy anymore, you can just go for it. So that's a super powerful metaphor. Why? Because we're using the metaphor of let's get you on track. I have that track. Let's help you move forward and chug along, aka do the program, sign up, let's do this. And then there's this clarity, there's this opening piece of like the smog is the fog is no longer around us, and there's a clearing. So then it injects this level of hope, this level of like, oh, and by the way, once you feel clear and like the coast is clear, you can like really go for it. But first, we need to get you on track. So are you ready to get to work? Are you ready to let's do this? That's where you can start to have fun with the metaphors and the analogies and the stories.
Yeah.
That
That's
really, yeah.
say that the metaphors and things don't come to me, and I swear it's like some kind of a difference in my brain. Like I don't think of metaphors. I
Yeah.
even put effort into trying to think of stories and metaphors, and they don't come to me. And then I just on a call before this with a it was a sales call, and he was metaphoring the entire time.
Oh my goodness.
And he'd like answer the question in a metaphor. It's like, well, it's kind of like this when blah blah blah. I'm like, that
Mm,
is fascinating.
yeah. Well, and I'm going to reframe you. What if you didn't need to be the type of person who is great at metaphors? What if you had one or two solid metaphors that you used on every single call?
Yeah, that's probably what I need because I don't think I'll ever be the type to just come up with
Exactly,
metaphors.
right?
Just
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
Yeah, right. Because some people are great at that. Like the gentleman, every other word he's talking about
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool. When I run into those people, or when I run into people who are stuck, even this idea of stuck is a metaphor. What do you mean stuck? Stuck what? Like, what does that mean? There's no such thing.
Yeah.
That's a metaphor. Stuck in the mud,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, cool. So then you already have maybe two or three
Hmm.
metaphors that you're like, okay, yeah, this person's dealing with fear. This person's dealing with time. This person's dealing with money. Let me have a metaphor for each in my back pocket, and then I'll pull it out. That's a metaphor. Well, you're not pulling anything out, right? I'm just showing you. Like you're pulling it out, and then you're like, let me deploy it.
Yep. Yep.
See?
Cool.
So let's end on that note, because I think that would be
Yeah.
very tactical for you. What's one metaphor that you can use, right? When they're stuck or just like, a little bit uncertain. It could be that, like, let's get you on a track, like a
Yeah.
train. It could be, let's get you on
I
a
like
curriculum or,
I like on track. I guess I'm not, I don't know.
yeah.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah, honestly, like that's very powerful, especially in health and fitness and everything you do. Because notice what I started with. You might have missed it. I said, yeah, because right now, Jenny, you're spinning your wheels.
Yes, I like
So
spinning the
instantly,
wheels.
instantly they're like, oh, actually, I am. And now they're starting to visualize some sort of vehicle. But you decide to put them in a train. Why? Because a train is, heavy and clunky, which is right, what they need help with. So they want to move forward. So a train cannot move forward unless it's on a track, actually,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
So it's logical, but also it helps them just like really like feel into the truth of like, yeah, so all we need to do is get you on track because right now it seems like you're spinning your wheels. Okay. And so, by the way, once you're moving forward with me, eventually the smoke will clear and you're going to see the road ahead and you're going to even be excited to go faster and do more. You're going to be asking me, Lucy, like I need like tighter macros or I don't know what you do, but like right. So you kind of get them into this notion of like all we need to do is get you on track and just get them to see and feel that path forward. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So let's end on that.
Yeah.
So run it, just share it, it doesn't have to be perfect. So let's say, my name is whatever, Jenny. We've been using Jenny forever. So let's say my name is Jenny, and then I'm telling you, yeah, but I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit like nervous. I'm feeling a little bit of nerves. Then you hit me with this, get you on track.
Great. Yeah. Uh, so you tell me that you're nervous, you've got nerves, and I'm like, um, yeah, Jenny, that's totally normal. It's part of the process. But at the very least, now we understand that we've established, what it is that you really want. And am I asking them this question about getting them on track, or am I just telling them, so how
Yeah.
about let's get you on track? Or
Just run it, whatever feels good, and then I'll give you feedback.
okay. Um, okay, so at the very least, we have established that you really do want to get off your medications in 2026. But right now you're feeling like you're spinning your wheels. You've got a lot of fog around you. And what we want to do is get you on track at a pace that works for you and isn't overwhelming so that you're still moving in the right direction towards your goals so that you can feel calm. And then once the fog clears, then you can take off. But first we have to get you on track.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's literally what it is. And
Okay,
then and
cool.
then and then you ask them a question like, does that make sense? Or are you ready to get to work? You put it back in their court. Even just does that make sense? They're naturally most likely to say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. You know,
Okay.
and then you just whatever words you are already using or patterns to get them to move forward, you just deploy it at that point. Okay, great. So with that said, yeah, let's get you started. Or with that said, whatever you use, right? But now you've cleared the way. You ask them for the sale again. They're either going to say yes or give you another objection, and then you just try to solve that. And you ask another, you ready to go? They say yes, but that's called a loop.
Hmm.
You're just in a good way because usually looping is a bad thing, but in this case you're just looping back to cool. Now I hear that. So let me understand what you're saying. So you're ready to get to work, but you just need to make sure your husband is on board. Yes. Okay, now we're solving for the spouse objection. But at the very least, now they're bought in.
Hmm.
Before, if
Hmm.
you wouldn't have given them a metaphor, or really walked them through it, they would have still been like, well, I still have to talk to my husband. I'm not even sure I really want to do this. And plus, I have all this shit I have to do. Oh my God. But now it's just, oh, you just have to connect to your husband and just kind of, it's not about permission. It's more about just awareness, letting them know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just need to let them know that I really want to do this. Okay, so would you be opposed to getting started? And if they're not supportive at all, we can always do a refund. Is that something you're open to? Yeah, I'm open to that actually. What? Like, that's how you work through that by leading them.
Okay.
So there's a lot there. I'm going to share
Yeah.
obviously the recording, but I'm telling you, this stuff is powerful once you really get it down.
Okay. Yeah. And I gotta get some sales calls booked.
Yeah, and following up with your people is going to get you on the sales call.
Right, right. Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So
Because that's the whole point of these challenges is to get sales calls booked. But I think you were the one that recommended that I don't offer at this. So there's always a master class at the end of the challenge. I've always offered a 1 hour call. that's what I offer during the master
Yeah, but it was
class.
too much of a commitment.
Yeah, and I think I want to try doing something shorter
Yeah,
to
15 minutes.
see if it, yeah, increases the people that book because it hasn't been like super successful. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Call that a success call. Yeah. So let's go ahead and set you guys up on a success call. I only have 10 slots available just due to my calendar.
Okay.
You become the prize.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, as always, great connecting with you guys. And we got Kai's note taker here, so he'll listen to this, but I'll let it load and put it into the group. And as always, let's keep going. I'm excited for you guys. I'm personally also, gonna dive in deeper to my school because I've been just kind of like, letting it do its thing and connecting with a few of you guys here. But that's my goal for 2026 as well. Is I love hearing
Nice.
Kai share his updates of like locking in and really getting into it. So I've already time blocked some space here on my calendar to kind of grow this out. So I'm excited to see more people in here.
Awesome. Me too.
All right, fantastic. Well, we'll see you soon, Lucy. Take care.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.